It's time for a couple of holy mackerel stories in today's news. It is back on in Iran. Despite a ban on public gatherings, hundreds of people marched in the streets of Tehran today. A power protest was also planned for this evening. Iranians were organizing today to turn off all appliances at a designated time and then switch them back on 5 minutes later, trying to cause a power surge. There were some unconfirmed reports of power outages in 3 Tehran districts. On Friday, of course, much larger protests in the streets coincided with an appearance from Iran's reformist former president at official Friday prayers. But the turmoil isn't just on the ground and in the streets. It's also apparently inside the regime itself. Because he's the newly, if spuriously re-elected president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad gets to create his government. He gets to appoint vice presidents and advisors all on his own without the involvement of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, who is, in theory, supposedly above politics. That's the theory, but in practice, the supreme leader is kiboshing Ahmadinejad's choice for his vice president. Khamenei writing Ahmadinejad a letter demanding that his choice for vice resign. In other words, there's a crisis for this separation of mosque and state. Which is not that weird in a country that's full name starts with the phrase, the Islamic Republic of. The real question is whether this split between Khamenei and Ahmadinejad, means that Ahmadinejad might be in trouble, that he might be losing the support of the clerical regime that actually runs the show in Iran. The other big question is whether this will be yet another jolt in the arm for the green uprising in the streets of Iran that still seems ready to pour into the streets to try to get rid of their government at any moment. Also today, it turns out that the Nixon scandal-related real estate market is not so hot. Back in April, you might remember that apartment number 310 at Watergate West went on the market. It was the apartment once owned by Fred LaRue. Fred LaRue is the man who, in that apartment, distributed hush money to keep the original Watergate break-in secret. Remarkably, the Watergate tells us now that the Fred LaRue piece of Watergate history apartment is still vacant, still for sale, never sold. That said, if you were in the market for a piece of Watergate history, the whole Watergate Hotel went up for auction today. The hotel's current owner defaulted on a $40 million loan, so the whole 12-story kit and caboodle went up for sale to the highest bidder. The highest bidder, however, never showed. Neither did the lowest bidder, for that matter. The hotel, the Watergate Hotel, failed to attract a single bid today. For the record, the Rachel Maddow Show would like to offer $15 for all the ashtrays. And finally, science update. We reported last week that off the Alaska coast, there floats a big, gnarly blob of goo. It's in the Chukchi Sea. That's the sea between Alaska and Russia. Now, this blob reportedly stretches for more than 10 miles. Officials say it's been hanging off ice and kind of sucking stuff into it like jellyfish and fish. Someone even turned it into the local wildlife department, the remains of a dead goose that did not survive the blob in very good condition. It was just a skeleton and a bunch of feathers. Well, now testing on samples of the big blob of goo has been completed. And according to the Alaska State Department of Environmental Conservation, the blob is algae. Now, algae blooms are usually green or yellow or red. This stuff is black and it's hairy. But researchers say that the color probably just means that it's rotting, and the hair just means that it's filamentous algae. Stringy, hairy algae. Algae, your hair smells terrific.